Hi everybody, this is Amy and welcome back to my channel. Today we're making hand-rep Pyang Bang noodles with a pork fried bean sauce. For our noodles, I'm using a scale here, but you can use measuring cups. We need to weigh out 300 grams or 1 1/3 cup plus 2 tablespoons of either all-purpose flour or bread flour. I'm going with bread because I want a chewier noodle and all I had was whole wheat, so that's what I'm using today. To this, we're going to add a teaspoon of kosher salt and 155 grams or 1 1/2 cup plus 2 1/2 tablespoons of water. And I like to add the water slowly because you can always add more. You can't take it away. We're going to use some chopsticks or a spatula to roughly bring this together before going in with our hands and giving this a knead for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we can cover this up and let this rest to let that water absorb in. Now, after 45 minutes, we can tip this out onto our workbench, rough side down, and we're going to hand knead this for an additional 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, we're going to pinch any of the craggly ends together, place the craggly portion down on our workbench and pull it towards us. This is going to help smooth out the surface. Then we're going to go in with the bench scraper and section this into 4 equal pieces. Now this is actually 2 servings because these noodles are very long. So I'm going to eat this for dinner and for lunch tomorrow. Then go in pinching together those cut ends. And then we're going to roll these out into 4 tubes. And a tube should be about 3.5 to 1 inch wide. Just going in, pinching any of those loose ends together and rolling these up. And after all of our tubes are rolled up, we're going to take a clean container and we're going to add in 3 tablespoons of our neutral oil. We're going to use this to coat our noodles. So drizzling that right on it and then plopping each tube in, giving this a little roll to make sure all the surfaces are thoroughly coated. Once all of our tubes are coated with our oil, we're going to cover this up and we're going to let this rest for 2 hours. 45 minutes before you're ready to roll out your noodles, we're going to go ahead and make our topping. So to a small bowl, we have a pound of ground pork. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of water. We're going to give this a really good mix and let that water absorb into the pork and set that aside. We're also going to need a little ginger, some bay leaves, anise seeds, cinnamon stick, Sichuan peppercorns, white and greens of our scallions, some garlic, and some cabbage. All the measurements are down below. Now over low heat, we're going to set our wok and we're going to add in 1/3 cup of neutral oil. You can also use a heavy bottom pot if you don't have a wok. Then we're going to tip in all of our aromatics and we're going to let this infuse into the oil for 15 minutes over low heat. We don't want these to burn. After 15 minutes, we can take out all of our solids. All that flavor is infused into our oil and it smells actually very beautiful in this apartment right now. Then we're going to add in our pork, raise the heat to medium-low, and we're only going to let this cook for about a minute because we're going to cook this thoroughly in a bit. So after a minute, we're going to add in our cabbage, our scallion whites, our garlic, and a cup of water, along with 4 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine, 1 1/2 tablespoons of a dark soy sauce. Just use light soy sauce or regular soy sauce if that's what you have. A teaspoon of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Now we need 2 special ingredients for this. We need sweet bean paste and we need 1/4 cup of this. If you can't find sweet bean paste, just use hoisin. The flavor profile is pretty similar. Just tipping that right in. The next ingredient we need is hot bean sauce. And if you can't find hot bean sauce, just use chili crisp. And we need 3 tablespoons of this. We're going to raise the temperature again to medium-high. Stir this all together and we're going to cover this up and let this simmer away for 10 minutes. While that's simmering, we can go ahead and start making our noodles. So over on our workbench, we're going to take out one of our tubes and we're going to flatten this out with our hands before going in with a rolling pin. And we're going to roll this out to a 6-inch by 2-inch little slab of dough here. And you want these pretty thin. We're going to make them thinner as we bang them. Then we're going to take a chopstick and press this in the middle to make a little vein, kind of like what you would see on a leaf. There's a purpose to this, trust me. Then we're going to go in and start banging this against our workbench, banging and stretching. That's how that gets the name Pyang Bang noodles, because of the sound it makes. until we have about a 3-foot noodle. And yes, this will stretch to 3 feet. After you stretch that, we're going to go in and rip that along that vein, and you can rip it into 2 or leave it in a loop or leave just one end. Completely up to you. Now it's been 10 minutes. We're going to take off that lid and let that reduce for 15 minutes. While that's reducing, we're going to cook our noodles, pop them in simmering water. As soon as they float, they're ready to go. Now I've just placed the noodles and topped it with our pork and fried bean sauce in my favorite bowl, adding some cucumber and some carrot and some roasted peanut for garnish. And this is looking beautiful. Now let's go ahead and give this a taste and look at this gorgeous, beautiful handmade noodle that we just made with our own 2 hands. Dipping it in our sauce. The noodles are chewy and fantastic and hearty. The pork has picked up all that star anise, the cinnamon, and the ginger. The pork is savory and sweet and salty and everything you want a pork and fried bean sauce to be. But there it is. Hand-ripped noodles with pork fried bean sauce. This is absolutely delicious, and I hope you try to make this in your home. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I appreciate every single one of you. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you so much again, and until next time, happy cooking.